and good morning. This is just a quick short live video. I am looking at, over this year, sorting out my YouTube channels that I have set up, not just for myself, but also for my children, because they want to get into learning more about social media platforms. And this one that I've already managed for over of the videos contents into some of the other channels that are we're still in hypertension. Now I'll say that word again. It's called intracranial hypertension. Now I did do some videos about this last April, I believe in May, June, and possibly July. But in July, I was told that my condition was stable and therefore I no longer needed to be medicated. However, I went to the hospital yesterday for a vision test. One of the tests they do is called a gold field test. They also took photos of the back of my eyes and looked at them once they were dilated with eye drops. So it the eye clinic at Coventry and Warwick University Hospital, who are absolutely amazing, by the way. I have not got a bad word to say about them. They have been so supportive and so informative with my condition. And also when my son was under them temporarily, they were great with him too. Sorry, wouldn't be my video without a yawn. So I really, really cannot see very well at the moment at all. I'm trying not to cry because it is quite emotional for me to have to go back to the hospital and be told that my eyesight and the pressure behind my optic nerves is even worse than last year. And now I've got to wait for my results before I can get put back on any medication. And as I was saying last year, that took over 4 weeks. I can't afford to wait another 4 weeks for my GP to receive my paperwork so that I can be supported with this condition. The last time I was really, really ill, I ended up being in hospital, and this was just in A&E for 30 hours. Kept me in because they were concerned for my welfare, only to have my appendix removed. All I know is until I got put on acetazolamide, which I don't want to scare anybody, I was never as ill as I was when I got put on that medication. That medication, Jesus Christ, sorry, I shouldn't be taking the Lord's name in vain. He's dying. And I'm not joking. I didn't know what day of the week it was. I couldn't even tell you what the time was. All I knew is that my life consisted of me having sickness, diarrhea, being constantly dehydrated, because literally having to beg anyone who was not working last year just to sit with me to make sure I woke up, because I was so scared that this medication they'd put me on would end up putting me in some kind of coma, because I was literally sleeping for 18 hours straight. Luckily, most of the treatment was during the summer holiday. Apparently, they're supposed to help. They're supposed to prevent me from having to have brain surgery. I don't know what they'd find if they did drill into my brain, but hey, you never know, do you? I mean, I do not ever want to have to go through. My dad had a brain. What I have, it's a bit like encephalitis. So intracranial hypertension can lead to other things like NSEF, I believe, is what I've heard. So encephalitis is what I've heard. So encephalitis is basically a build up of making baby syndrome, where they've done it with dolls and they've said, like, when you shake a baby, not that I would ever shake a baby, and it shows the brain damage that a child can get from being shook violently by an adult. But having intracranial hypertension can lead to encephalitis, is what I've heard. So you start off by having like headaches, and with me, it was like my brain was being crushed in a vice. I imaged some of the like all the blood vessels and everything to my eyes. Some of them are damaged to the point where it's affected my visibility. So it's affected my vision. So when I had the gold field test, what they do is they put you in this machine and left her eye especially much, and I wasn't seeing the lights that they were literally the, you know, it was this great big massive 50p piece, literally like a full stop flashing, and it's got worse. Therefore, have you noticed any? I'm not going to lie to you. You know, I was dreading yesterday because I just knew they were going to say that my condition had got worse, and it has. So sunglasses, I mean, people are advised to wear sunglasses during the summer anyway, when it's hot and stuff, to prevent your sunglasses when driving. And also the police, if you get stopped, if you think you do need glasses for driving, with myself, mine are prescription, so I have to wear mine all the time anyway. So mine have got my prescriptive lens in, not these ones. I have misplaced those, but I'm not doing much reading anyway because I literally cannot see in front of me. I can see distance. My distance is fine. They haven't got, so it's really, really scary to have to deal with this again. And I just wanted to do a quick video because I know people were interested in finding out more about intracranial hypertension, which I got told I've got because I'm a woman, I'm over 40, and I'm overweight, and I've had children. So I'm like, oh, that's funny, because like I know loads of people who have had children themselves as women. I'm talking about genetic, a little on the plump side, and they haven't got this condition. I don't know what the statistics are. I don't know how many people. So if you want to know more about intracranial hypertension, I know some people have messaged me. I'm really sorry, but I literally cannot read the screen. I'm not doing that to be rude. So I will say hi and thank you for messaging. I can see that intracranial hypertension. Then there are groups as well on social media. I actually set one up myself because it would enable me to talk more about my personal experience with this condition and not have to wait for somebody like an administrator to say yes or no as to whether they were going to post anything, which is something else that I was diagnosed with. Has meant that I've had to, because the drugs I'm taking are literally like horse tranquilizers. They're massive. They are helping. I now have to manage my life around. Pardon me. I was going to sneeze. So I think the more information that people know about these things, it could save somebody's life. All right, headache, or pins and needles in your hands. Are those symptoms, you have got intracranial hypertension. But put it this way, me and a young woman last year, we went into hospital with the same pain in our lower abdomen. Mine ended up being appendicitis. Hers ended up trying to get rid of people. I was to see a doctor. I'm having to wait 2 weeks to see a GP. And I'm like, yeah, and that shouldn't be happening. However, when you see them, they shouldn't just be going through the tick sheet of, oh, what's wrong with you? Okay, yeah, it's probably nothing serious. It is not gastroenteritis, all right? I've got bile acid malabsorption. I've got intracranial hypertension. I've had bile acid malabsorption from the age of 16, even though it wasn't formally diagnosed until I was 38. I don't have a gallbladder, so you can't see my right side. And I've had it now for over, and like I said, I mean, I was very, very lucky that scan you, will take some blood, still no better, contact a GP. or come back to A&E in 3 days. Literally, I'm not saying lay it on thick, okay? I'm not saying when you go into hospital, when you go to your doctors, do not try and make out that your condition is worse than it is. But if you have had a long-standing illness or a long-standing disability that you live with, and it is affecting you on a daily basis, then you need to say, look, I'm sorry, no, I'm not going to wait another 3 days. I'm not going to wait another 2 weeks. I want you to do something now. Okay, so do not suffer in silence. But at the same time, my guideline has always been to anybody, if you end up phoning your GP, you don't always have to fill out the online forms. Do not get tricked by the receptionist. My receptionist is amazing. They will actually fill the form in for me over the phone. If you don't hear back from your GP within 2 weeks, go to hospital. Okay, if you think that you can't wait 2 weeks to see a doctor, go to hospital. If when you go to hospital, you are there for less than 8 hours in A&E or the out-of-hours service or whatever, put up and shut up, okay? Okay, fair enough. If you do think you can't sit there for 8 hours, say something, but say that when you check in, okay? Tell them what medication you're on. If you have diabetes, if you're on blood thinners, tell them everything when you check in and say, look, I appreciate the waiting time, maybe 8 hours. However, due to the reason I've come in and due to my medical history, am I likely to see someone sooner? Ask that question. They'll probably say, we're really sorry, we do not know. You will be seen. But over 8 hours, you have to say something, all right? I was in A&E for 30 hours. I was fine, I was patient, but I was getting to the point where I just wanted to run in front of a bus and kill myself. Deal with this pain anymore. Somebody kill me now, because it was just unbearable. Okay, I've had 3 children. I know what labour feels like, but I have never had pain in my head. And it was because my intracranial around my brain was putting pressure on my brain, putting pressure. To relieve that pressure was by having a lumbar puncture and to be put. On that note, I just want to say again, thanks. Okay, we are in the United Kingdom and we do get good weather here, and you can get sunburn. Okay, skin cancer is again on the increase. I don't know a lot about it, but they're always advising. Obviously, with children, you know, like with everybody, we do need vitamin D. Vitamin D is vital to the body, and you get that obviously from sunlight. So a little bit is good tomorrow. And I've actually got skin damage from last year, and it's still there. So skin damage, skin cancer is very, very important to avoid. And sunstroke. You might not think, oh, it's not that sunny today, I'll be fine. All right, if you're ginger and you're fair, like me, I can't even be outside for 5 minutes. I used to work outside. I love being outside. I was a landscape gardener, and my trousers were above my waist, and that part of my skin always had like a brown patch, which is really funny, to be honest. But again, I always, because I was working out there, I would always wear a hat, I would always wear sunglasses or safety glasses, and I would always use sun cream. So be safe, be well, enjoy the day, please, if you can. You know, have a fantastic weekend, and I will do some more posting when I can, and I will also look at, in case you've got lost in translation, tension. Okay.